It's 5 a.m. and I'm standing just on the outskirts of the village of Kadoya here in the Japan Southern Alps. Let's go see what's happening in the early morning at this small mountain community. This collection of large stones were once used in old Japan for grinding grains. The hole at the top would be used to insert a large pole or something similar that could be used to turn the stone and grind the grain that would be put underneath it. You can see that this stone has grooves cut on it to facilitate the grinding. These are just scattered in the yard of this home here. A lovely old farm home. The small area, this little rooftop area here, that's common in older homes here in Japan and was used to let the smoke from the indoor fire escape through the roof. This is a farmer's tool shed. It's probably less than 100 years old. It's got the tiled roof, various tools and accessories scattered about. And across the street there's another tool shed. And the farmhouse next door. The little architectural touches which are common in older Japanese homes. This is the village firehouse, a tiny little structure housing a small fire truck. And as always in Japan, if you look closely enough at anything modern, you'll find traces of the past. And if we walk close and look under the eaves at the entrance to the firehouse, you'll find the old community fire bell and a hammer to use to strike it. This old bronze bell was likely kept atop a tall tower in the old days. And from the tower, people could climb and strike the bell in case of fire and bring all the residents running. Those towers are disappearing in Japan as they're no longer really needed. But most of the communities will hold on to their old bells and display them in a conspicuous location for sentimental reasons. Just like this one. You can see the old dragon head at the top, staring down at us. This large old tree marks a fork in the road and also sits beside a very old farm structure. There's some farmhouses and the actual farmhouse itself over here. But what I really wanted to point out here was the old kura, or Japanese storehouse. We can't see them these buildings very well over the shrubs, but this old storehouse is essentially a fireproof building. And in old Japan, most large households would have had a kura in order to store their valuables and also to act as a warehouse for their business. And their possessions would be placed in there and sealed up and kept safe against robbers and fire and moisture. And in case of fire, the house may burn down back here, but the kura will remain, and the family can then rebuild. These kura adopt the landscape of Japan, particularly in the countryside, and are an interesting symbol of old Japan. Lots of farmers don't even know what's inside their kura. They can have centuries of clutter built up inside, and many of them, if you ask them what's inside, they tell you they don't know. But there's basically accumulated treasure hoard in there from the feudal era, and it can be quite interesting when a kura is actually opened and examined. On the storage building of this small farmhouse, we can see at the edge of the tiled roof each of the tiles at the edge of the roof includes a little crest. Sometimes this crest is a family crest, but in this case these are called tomoe watermarks, and they represent swirling water and are a very old symbol in Asia, and they have the effect of acting as a ward against fire. That was the belief in old Japan. A very interesting part of the culture, and a very common sight at the edge of old Japanese homes and other buildings. Here's another lovely setting with a few old buildings. The structure on the right may be a storehouse or maybe even part of a residence. And you can see the old wood siding on the bottom floor and the plaster and mud roof, plaster and mud walls up on the second floor. Those white parts of the wall would have some reeds in the back and mud and be whitewashed. Look at the huge wooden beam above the window and the large wooden beam sticking out the end. That particular roof end piece, it's hard to hold the camera still here. It has what may be a family crest at the edge. The building over to the left is an old wooden structure with some closed shutters. Very nice. In the middle of this garden area, I noticed a set of gravestones. Typically, I only see this in very old communities, where the actual graves of the ancestors were sometimes located on the same piece of land where the family lived. This appears to be the case here. I'm not sure if the home is this one here or one of the others in the area, but it appears that the graves of the ancestors here are within a little little plot of vegetables now. Not a bad way to wind up, in my opinion. Be interred and remembered in a vegetable garden.